have no.
We are live.
Live. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Blender Institute Weekly. Yoo-hoo! This is the last weekly of the Gooseberry project for the time being. So next week we will do beer and food, but without presentations. Right?
Hey.
Much better.
Why is it happening when I'm not here? Yeah.
All the beer and presentations.
Yeah.
You can do presentations in Paris.
Alone.
So yeah, it's also the end of the creative period. Of course, we have still leftovers, but most of the leftover work is rendering. That's going to be our work, and that is not very interesting to show in weeklies. So, let me introduce the guests first, and they will say themselves who they are. Can you say shortly your name and maybe what you do in your daily life?
Okay.
Is there sound, Francesco?
Sounds working?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Starting from me. My name is Connie, and I come with. My name is Connie, and I come with Hiza, and we are come from Blender Indonesia, the community, biggest animation community in Indonesia.
Cool. And why are you in Europe? You visited?
Yes, we. Okay, so our short film project was pitched in Annecy Film Festival in France on the 19th of June, last 19th of June. So we came to Europe because of that, and then we visit Amsterdam to see all of people here.
But you also have holiday in Europe to go around?
We went to Germany and then here.
Back in here and then back home.
And then we will take our flight back to Indonesia from Paris. Yes.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Stephen, Blender developer, regular weekly meeting.
You guys are part of the furniture. Still 9%.
Hi, I'm Marit. I'm his wife, and I often see the weeklies online. Now I really want to join in.
Good. Yeah. Welcome.
I'm Hizkia. In some Indonesian people in animation call me Hiza, Hisaro. I'm the leader of Blender community in Indonesia since 2009. And yes, this is I'm very exciting to be here because Blender changed my vision in my life, and now we are still grow up and more, and we have the studio, the big community in Indonesia.
Yeah. And you know everybody, all the people in the studio. Yeah.
Yes.
Very
Thank
nice.
you for the last weekly. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. You also have some work you did, but you can show that later.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone can see.
Good. Now we start anti-clockwise. Then we begin here, and then go.
Damn.
Go to the second fridge.
So I don't have a lot of updates. Like as Don said, this is the moment where production, like the actual, making the files ends and rendering the file starts, and it becomes very uninteresting. And that's when I start working. And so, yeah, that's what I do. So there is usually not much to say. Yeah, that's the deal. Yeah. So that's what I will do. That's what I'm doing already for a few weeks. So besides that, there isn't much more to add. So let's move on.
Right. I had a weeklies folder open.
Yeah.
Cool.
Before I came over and broke everything.
Well, She closed something.
Uh,
It says a bookmark there.
oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one is on Samba, which
Okay.
is bad. This is better.
All right.
Okay.
So
the
this
last
week-
one, yes.
I started out with. So I think if you can just play that M3U.
With this, yeah. This.
Wow.
So for the best.
Or any video player. So I started out just finishing off the hair sims on the flock, just basically making them a bit more uniform.
Without sound, I can play.
Yeah, you can play without sound. So that needed stronger wind than it had, and so did this one, and so did this one. So yeah.
Sure.
Still yet to see this stuff rendered because it's actually a real tricky job to get all the sheep into the memory.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then next up,
Yes.
it's a M3U, so you can just press the next button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like this.
Next up, I just did a little tweak on this shot where basically the cable wasn't moving at all previously and it was in a strange pose. So I've just fixed that. So it's a minor tweak. And then next up, I did this shot in the jungle. A bunch of dragonflies and then
I'm sorry.
a caterpillar waking up. Then I added some dragonflies to Sarah's shot in the background. There's a lot of trees that obscure this, but anyway, it's good to have them there. And then I animated the last shot of the jungle as we come out. So that was that. And then lastly, got a couple of images,
Oh, okay.
the pings.
Here they are.
So I just did some shading and texturing on the dragonfly.
Yeah.
So you can share it. Yeah, and there's another one there that shows in the environment with a bit of reflection.
Good.
So that was my week.
Skip. Oh,
No,
yeah,
no,
something.
no. I
Oh,
actually
you
have
have
something useful this week.
Oh.
Finally.
All right.
Yeah, there's like 2 images in my weekly folder, but I also have a Blender build.
The back of the distortion. This one?
Yeah, so yeah, actually I worked on a. What you see here is the render. Actually, it's like this. Oh yeah. Where am I? How did this work? Like here?
There,
Yeah.
and there, and there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this is actually a new feature I've been working on. It's a force field visualizer, because we have this problem that all the force fields that we have in Blender for all the physics are totally invisible. So you always have to guess and use your best judgment and see how the stuff actually reacts to that over time. It's very tedious to set up. So I made this feature, which is just called the force field visualizer. And okay, this failed, but I have another build. 1 second. It's just Yep, there we go. Sharing, yeah. Find it. Where is the Google thing? Okay. Oh, what? Go. All right, finally. So yeah, this is the force field. Let me just quickly reset this. So this is the modifier. And in order to see something, I'll reduce this a bit. Remove this one. So here in the middle we have these two, or I think it's in total it's actually 4 force fields. And this modifier creates field lines. So to physicists that's a known thing, but basically it shows you the direction of the fields and how far they extend and so on. And here I just made a little test with the dipole field. And of course this doesn't work for some reason. Everything's broken. Yeah. I don't know. You can show you.
Come on, I had a great demo yesterday.
Yeah, I'll just show the picture. Just look at the picture. It's nice. It's too complicated to explain now. Yeah, nobody knows what it is anyway. So.
The field stronger, and then it will all start moving with the time, right?
You can see where it's moving.
Yeah. Sure, but it's too complicated to demo now. So.
Yay! Graphics forever.
That's a weekly thing. Yeah, and one thing I actually used it to look at the Victor file, and this is what it looks like. Sharing. Why doesn't this work automatic? This is the most stupid thing ever. So you can see here all these little points where the field lines basically collapse onto individual points in the turbulence, because this is what we did with the wind force fields. We had this sharp fall off, and then beyond a certain range the wind force doesn't work anymore, so you only get the turbulence, and this creates all these little attractor points here. And I think, I haven't really tested it, but I think this is why we had all this hair jittering, because basically a vertex from the hair gets close to these attractors and it gets trapped and it just bounces around in there and can't get out. We don't have any forces beside them. Okay, it's a little bit late to fix that in the files now, but still good to know.
We can see it.
Yeah. So I think it's useful.
Oh, it's useful.
Yeah.
Gooseberry goes into star, right?
Well, anyway, yeah. So.
Okay, next week we see people online making models of black holes that you are visualizing. Yeah?
It's probably a little bit boring because it just goes to the center.
Light speed. And Hello?
Yes. Thank you. Jo, laundromat is progressing. First tests of the tornado inside washing machines and stuff. Yeah, it's very old. Old stuff. You can go to the.
It's really old. Don't stop.
That's an old version. That's not the current version.
I love the animation.
Okay, we're coming back.
Some vibration for the machines. That was too much. You can you can put the next version. It's a little bit subtler. And you can go to the next one. Yeah, experimentation. And next one.
Movie?
You can put the image if it's easy. Well, yeah, it's just a more close-up render of the thing. but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's still ongoing. The development. What's next?
Transfer
Uh-huh.
cannot be loaded.
Well, yeah, but it's
Too big.
no, there is something weird.
It's
but-
1.2 max.
But for the caterpillar, I just put the belt material. Nothing special, and
Yeah, I'm going back to it. Just a second.
yeah. Oh yeah, simulation stuff. Too much intersections for this, but in the next one, it was better. And yeah, in the next image, you can see how it will be rendered. So it will be quite. Yeah,
Wow.
but it's this. No.
Yeah, people can actually see it in.
Yeah, but yeah.
But the glass is mirroring, right? The
Well,
clock. It's a mirror. You can see
The
Victor.
well, if you want, but that's a lot of work.
But it's already mirroring.
It is a bit.
I want
It's
shot.
reflecting just the highlights. So since the sun is in the back, you can see it.
You just put a texture of it of all the movie shots. That's done.
Oh yeah, that's it.
We have somebody from Iceland.
Sit down, mate.
Yay!
Hello. So you can maybe play just the like the number 10.
This one?
No, the number 10. Thank you. So this is where I currently have the laundromat. The character animation is pretty much done, and I fixed the jacket up to a degree which is fixable. I mean, there are some weird intersections, but it's out of my hands. Like no bone will touch that area, so we have to do that in post or make the shirt just be hidden at that point. So I finished the headphones, fixing the jacket, doing the pocket, and animating the last few seconds of him like actually realizing there's like the sound coming from his watch, and he's like blah blah blah. So yeah, it's all polished also. The one big thing that I need to do now is finish the wire. I've finished almost half of it in the first part, and that part is insanely hard. So I've been pretty much just frame by framing a lot of it. But the irony is that he's kind of tiny in that shot, so you're not going to notice it. He's kind of tiny in that shot in the beginning.
Tiny?
He's kind of small-ish, and the wire is really in the first. This shot, he is kind of small, and the wire is really tiny. So
Perspective. Perspectively
he
small.
is small in the shot.
Pixels.
You know the pixels? He's like this is the maximum
He's
range of
far
pixels,
away.
and he's like here.
Multiple cats.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's screen space.
Would you
So-
say it's a lot of work for you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like yeah. So I
It's the same size. It doesn't matter what this is.
So it's
kind
Doesn't matter.
So I moved closer to it just so you could see where I'm working on the cable right now. So it's just
Okay, so let's make him go out of the washing machine closer.
No!
to the first, and then he walks to
it's
the
too late.
Scale him up. Scale him up.
Scary. Jesus, what the hell? So yeah, and you can show the little reference file at the end. Maybe, yeah, it's there.
That's not a cigarette.
Yeah,
It's a pen cap or something.
Mission
Yeah,
Impossible.
It is?
Yeah. God. There's a bomb. I have to do it on detonate.
Holy shit.
Look at it. Oh my God. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Panicking. Yes.
Yeah. Look.
Yeah.
Action here.
Yeah. And you know what? I had to, for that reference, I had to put on my shoes because I kept slipping in my socks. Like if you're completely still and you're supposed to like go off running at an instance and you're wearing socks, it's like, and it doesn't really happen.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's true. But you can't see the feet, so it just becomes a guy that's not really running.
Squeaky noise.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You contact Eric. So that's me. And now, Anton.
I'm surprised you recognize me.
But
I'm afraid I don't have anything to show this week, so I will pass. Next week I'll have something.
yeah, but I don't have a weekly. So you have to say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
Well, I have to say goodbye. Goodbye.
So I didn't do anything either. You did.
I did some stuff. So I did, quite a lot of different stuff. So, well, first finished the caterpillar animation. So, yeah, animated little details and the ears and the leaf also on which he is also moves with him at the beginning. And yeah, so finalized this animation, and then Bjorn took over to put the dragonflies on the back and stuff like that. So that's was my last shot for the film. So it was nice.
Wow.
So after that, I moved on to do to help with the background about the props of the stuff. So the first thing I did was add leaves to the existing trees. So all the leaves that you see there, I put them one by one. Well, branch by branch, because it was not by leaves. I did already branches pre-done and then started putting them. So
The trees are not duplicates.
no, there is duplicates. There is 4 trees there.
4
4 different
No.
trees. But that was
One
not
by
nicer
one.
for the render, you know.
That's not so impressive.
Handmade.
It took me some hours.
I thought they called this computer animation.
So yeah, I did some different. Also, I had to take care of the floor of the jungle. So this is work in progress, of course. I started adding leaves also on the ground. So this is when I started the texture. I had problems of repetition. So the next one you can see. No, there is more. But why they're not in order?
No, 03B.
Yeah, there is a more of trees.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the floor after working on it. So it kind of gave a nice Japanese feeling, having the floor completely covered with a bit of yellow and stuff. Taking as reference the Andy's color grading from the splash, because it added a lot of yellow. It was really nice. So I started adding that. And then after that, all the work that I did on the trees, I passed it on the 3 shots. So you have the 3 cameras there from the caterpillar, 1, 2, and 3. And I did some set grooming, basically putting the trees there, putting leaves, putting it's like just the environment. What else? Also, I did some fixing. I had to correct seams on the caterpillar because when we worked on the juggle back then, I worked mainly on the upper side of the caterpillar, and now we have the belly. That's pretty much all we see of the caterpillar. I was like, oops, this is not really worked. So I came back on the belly of the caterpillar, arranged seams. And you can go to the next one. Well, we don't see much, but I added veins on the belly. Maybe if you zoom. Basically, I'm starting to add a bit of organic stuff just to have a bit more details. And yeah,
still
more.
has little hairs.
Yeah, it will still have little. Yeah, adding spots, little spot. It's not finished. I still have to finish, but I'm adding more details basically on the belly, so it looks better. And yeah, that's my week.
Maybe you can also do Pablo.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask. Does he have a? Because I don't know if he let. Oh, there.
Pablo has some renders, right?
Yeah, but I think it's quite self-explanatory. Pablo has been lighting the 3 shots, and we've been trying with the yellow gradients, and yeah.
Much better. Not blurring out the
Nice.
This is
you see something. Bubbles.
bubbles. Yeah, bubbles. Little bubbles. Yep.
That's nice.
Oh.
Almost Japanese.
Yep. Well, normally, we will have it ready really soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good.
think it's going well.
So this is some for Pablo. Pablo is on a rave party. Mathieu.
I don't even have a folder, I think. So
You can click those shots.
yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly. So either you watch the movie or I didn't store all the frames I did. So I was just mainly tweaking the lighting and make sure everything was consistent and work with Andy on the tornado, trying to fix everything and fit the farm. And
There are lots of lights now final except for the whole tornado shot.
Yep.
Is that a final tornado shot in the last part?
well, most of them, yes, are.
Maybe you will show that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I will.
He will.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it. And spent also a lot of time bothering Francesco for the renders and make sure everything was rendering.
No.
So that's it.
Okay. Andy, you have something.
There's videos there. And you cannot see anything in here because it's very dark. So I added swirly clouds to this. Maybe if you can show it on the screen, you'll see it. So yeah, turn. Anyway, so yeah, that's also there's a next one that also has a swirl. Yeah, and then there is a third, which I think has a missing frame, but I just fixed the drum coming out of the sky there. I matched it to the shot with Frank looking up. And I think you can put it back on the screen because people are like destroying their necks. Yeah. So yeah, I fixed some of the grass problems, and also there was some ear flopping animation that got lost somewhere, so I rebaked the hair simulation.
If I find who did this.
And then this is the shot where Frank's looking up. So I also had to add the drum and some swirls, and I also did the first simulation for Frank. Yeah, you cannot see it.
No, I have a cloud subscription, so
yeah,
it'll be okay.
Yeah, so and then For the rest of the time, I worked on the picking up shot. So on the, yeah, that's how that one looked like. That's the last render. I think the top part has to be fixed a little bit.
I have a grading in my edit. That's why it doesn't look the same.
Oh.
Have to get rid of it.
Okay. And if there's nothing else, then that's it for my week. Yeah.
The very last shot. What happened with that? I saw you were making a test, but it was not good. So
What?
the last one. The really last one that you see him.
Yeah, on Monday I tried to improve the inside of the tornado, but I reverted everything.
This is going to be a white thing.
Yeah.
The one that's currently in the edit.
The one that is in the edit now is it's a bit different. Something changed.
Yeah, I removed some of the swirliness because the frequency was too big, and I think I actually prefer it.
Yeah, it's better.
Then we have to add more detail in it too, but that's for next week.
Absolutely.
Coolness. Okay, so then that's it for the weekly.
One quick announcement:
One quick thing.
the last highlights will be up on Tuesday next week rather than Monday.
Why?
Because I will be in the UK.
Also partying.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Pretty much.
Good. That's a good reason.
So well, we see everybody online anyway. So it has been big fun, and we move on to have more beer and Thai food.
Yay.
So bye bye everybody.
Oh, bye.
Wait.
Bye bye.
Clap waves.